Welcome back, fellow Stoics. Every day we face moments that test our patience. A traffic jam when we're already late, a coworker's annoying habits, or our phone dying in the middle of an important call. Life is full of these little battles. But here's the real question: how do you respond? It's not just about these minor frustrations. It's about how we react to them that truly shapes our days and ultimately our lives. This ancient philosophy isn't just about enduring tough moments. It's about thriving in them. Stoicism gives us the tools to turn daily frustrations into opportunities for personal growth and unshakable inner peace. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this wisdom has influenced some of the greatest minds in history. And more importantly, you'll walk away with practical strategies you can apply right now to build resilience and take control of your emotions. So, if you're ready to master your reactions, find peace in chaos and transform your life, let's begin. Oh, and before we dive in, if you appreciate this kind of deep, life-changing wisdom, do me a small favor. Hit that subscribe button so we can keep growing together. And trust me, you don't want to miss a second of what's coming next. Let's get started. Lesson number 1. Mastering anger starts with mastering perception. Anger is a natural emotion, but how we handle it is what truly matters. The Stoics, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, taught that it's not events that make us angry, but our judgments about those events. This means anger isn't automatic, it's a choice. Next time you feel anger rising, pause and ask yourself, what judgment am I making about this situation? Is there another way to see it? This isn't about suppressing anger, it's about understanding it. When we break it down, we realize that many triggers are based on expectations rather than reality. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, is it truly the driver's action making you angry? Or is it your belief that your drive should be obstacle-free? By recognizing this, we also become more empathetic. Everyone struggles with emotions. The more we understand anger, the more we can improve our relationships, interactions, and peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius' golden rule: control what you can. Let go of what you can't. You control your thoughts, decisions, and actions. You don't control other people, the past, the weather, or random inconveniences. And here's the real power move. Instead of wasting energy on things beyond your control, invest it in what you can change: your mindset and reactions. Master this, and you master anger. Lesson number 2. Focus on what you can control. Let's make this practical. Imagine you're working on a group project, and one of your teammates isn't pulling their weight. It's easy to get frustrated, right? Your temper might rise, and you might feel yourself about to snap. But here's the Stoic shift. Ask yourself, what part of this situation can I control? You can't make your teammate work harder, but you can control how you respond. Maybe it's having a conversation about expectations, or perhaps it's reallocating tasks within the group. By focusing on what you can change, you not only reduce your stress, but also find more constructive solutions to the problem. The key here is recognizing that some things are just beyond our control. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. Instead, it's about knowing where your power lies, and it lies in your reaction, not in trying to control others. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic and feeling irritated because you're running late, pause. Can you control the traffic? No, but what can you control? Your reaction. Perhaps you turn on an audiobook, play some calming music, or use the time to plan your day. By doing so, you've shifted your focus from frustration to productivity. The beauty of focusing on what you can control is that it builds a resilient mindset over time. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize that life's ups and downs don't shake you as much because you know where your responsibilities begin and end. This Stoic practice isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about channeling your energy into more productive responses. It's about being fully present in the moment and aware of what's going on around you without becoming overly reactive. This idea aligns perfectly with Stoic teachings, which emphasize the importance of awareness of our thoughts and actions, and the need to maintain control over how we react to external circumstances. So, why practice mindfulness? Because it gives us the ability to pause between our experiences and our reactions to them. It allows us to choose responses that align with our values and goals, rather than letting emotions control us. This is especially useful when dealing with anger or frustration. For example, when someone says something that upsets you, instead of immediately snapping back or reacting impulsively, mindfulness helps you pause and decide how to respond in a way that aligns with your true intentions. Lesson #3. Create space between emotion and reaction. To truly master our emotions, Stoicism teaches us the power of taking a step back. When you notice an emotional surge, whether it's anger or frustration, instead of reacting immediately, observe the emotion passively. You don't have to act on it right away. This space that mindfulness creates isn't just calming, it's empowering. It gives you the power to choose your response, ensuring that you don't regret it later. Instead of being controlled by emotion, you become the one who controls how you respond. Now let's talk about how to make this practical in everyday life. Mindfulness sounds great in theory, but it's in practice that the real transformation happens. One of the simplest techniques is to focus on your breathing. When you feel your anxiety or anger building, take a moment to breathe deeply and slowly. By focusing on your breath, you disconnect from the stress or anger, and instead focus on what you can control: your breath. This moment of pause helps you regain composure and clarity. Another method is what I like to call mindful observation. Choose an ordinary moment like drinking a cup of coffee and bring full attention to it. Notice the aroma, the warmth of the cup, and the taste as it touches your lips. When you bring all your senses into this simple task, you transform an ordinary experience into something more meaningful. What's powerful about this is that it trains your brain to apply this level of mindfulness to tougher situations. When anger or frustration arises, you'll be better prepared to handle it with the same focus and calm you practiced during the smaller moments. Stoicism also teaches us a fundamental truth: impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, including our emotions. Mindfulness helps us experience our feelings without judgment, acknowledging them but not letting them define us. So when anger arises, acknowledge it. Yes, you're angry. Recognize the emotion, but also remind yourself that this anger is temporary. It's a passing state, not your identity. It doesn't control you unless you let it. The idea that everything changes and nothing is permanent is one of the most freeing Stoic principles. It reminds us that our emotions, our thoughts, and even our circumstances are constantly shifting. When we embrace this constant state of change, we learn to let go of our need for things to remain the same. Think about how often we get upset when things don't go as planned. Maybe it's a job promotion that didn't come through, a relationship that ended unexpectedly, or a sudden change in health. Our first reaction is often to resist the change, getting angry, sad, or frustrated. But Stoicism asks us to approach these situations through the lens of impermanence. Nothing stays the same forever, not our emotions, not our situations. When we truly grasp this, we realize that our anger or disappointment is also temporary. This doesn't lessen the impact of our feelings. Instead, it helps us develop a more balanced perspective. We can experience our emotions deeply, but we don't have to be consumed by them. They are just passing states, and that knowledge gives us the strength to ride through them with greater grace. Lesson #4. Embrace impermanence to live in the present. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is embracing impermanence, understanding that nothing lasts forever. When we realize that everything is temporary, we start to live more fully in the present. We worry less about the past and the future because we know that both are beyond our control. When you accept the transient nature of life, you begin to appreciate your experiences and the people around you on a deeper level. You stop taking things for granted. Instead, you become more mindful and aware that circumstances can change at any moment. This awareness is incredibly freeing. It allows you to live with greater gratitude, reduces the sting of negative events, and enhances the joy of positive ones. Imagine how much more meaningful moments become when you realize they are fleeting. Now, how do you practice accepting impermanence in your daily life? Start by reflecting on the transient nature of your surroundings and experiences. Observe how the seasons change, how your feelings shift throughout the day, and how your relationships evolve. These small observations are constant reminders that change is the only constant in life. Another way to integrate this Stoic principle is by adjusting your mindset when disruptions or unexpected changes happen. Instead of reacting with frustration when something doesn't go your way, take a moment to pause and acknowledge that this change is part of a bigger flow of life. Every shift is an opportunity to adapt and grow. Think about a time when something didn't work out as you had hoped. Maybe you missed an opportunity, but later something better came along. Often it's only in hindsight that we can see how these changes benefited us. Stoicism teaches us that every change, no matter how challenging, holds the growth potential. Stoicism doesn't just ask us to accept impermanence, it encourages us to find strength in it. Every change and ending is an opportunity to practice resilience and flexibility. By fostering this mindset, we don't just cope with life's challenges more effectively, we learn to move through them with peace and anticipation for what's next. The Stoics believed that awareness of the root causes of our emotions could lead to greater self-mastery. When we understand our emotions, we're better equipped to respond to life's challenges in a way that aligns with our values and goals, rather than simply reacting out of habit or impulse. Every emotion we experience, whether it's anger, joy, sadness, or fear, is triggered by our perception of the world around us. For example, if you feel angry when someone interrupts you while speaking, it's worth exploring why. Is it because you feel disrespected? Or is there a deeper insecurity at play about your voice being heard? By digging into these questions, you can start to understand your emotions more deeply. This self-awareness enables you to change your perceptions and, in turn, the way you feel. Stoicism teaches that our emotions are predicated on our judgments, and the great news is that judgments can be examined and changed. So when you feel a strong emotion rise within you, take a moment to pause and reflect on why you feel this way. By shifting your perspective, you open up the possibility of responding to the situation in a more measured, aligned way, rather than simply reacting based on impulse or habit. Lesson #5. Question your beliefs to change your emotional responses. When you're faced with frustration or anxiety, try to step back and ask yourself, what am I believing right now? Is this belief true? Is it helpful? This process of questioning your thoughts and beliefs can be incredibly powerful. It allows you to shift your perspective and choose a more constructive emotional response, one that serves you better. For instance, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming work presentation, it might be because you believe that you must perform perfectly to be respected. But is this belief accurate? Likely your colleagues value your effort and sincerity far more than perfection. Recognizing this can alleviate some of the anxiety and help you approach the situation with greater calmness and confidence. One practical way to understand your emotions more deeply is through journaling. Writing down what you feel and exploring why you feel it can help you uncover patterns and triggers that you might not be consciously aware of. Journaling provides a space for reflection, which not only helps at the moment, but also builds emotional intelligence over time, making you more resilient and adaptable in the long run. Another valuable approach is to discuss your emotions with someone you trust, a friend, family member, or mentor. Talking about your feelings can provide fresh insights and new perspectives that you may not have considered. It's often through dialogue that we come to understand ourselves and our relationships in a deeper, more meaningful way. Embracing the Stoic approach to emotions isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about engaging with your emotions proactively and reflectively. It's about taking control of your emotional responses rather than allowing them to control you. By understanding your emotions, you're not just reacting to the world around you. You're actively shaping your experience of it. Lesson #6. Embracing patience. A key aspect of cultivating patience is understanding that delays and obstacles are natural parts of life. If we start by acknowledging this, we're less likely to get upset when things don't go as planned. This doesn't mean we should lower our standards, but it does mean we should align our expectations with the reality that the world won't always operate according to our preferences. By recognizing that setbacks are inevitable, we can avoid unnecessary frustration and manage our emotions more effectively. One powerful way to manage impatience is to see the moments of waiting as opportunities for growth and reflection. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, instead of letting the delay fuel your frustration, transform that time into something productive. You could listen to an audiobook, practice deep breathing, or take the time to reflect on your day. This shift in perspective allows you to turn a frustrating situation into a relaxing or even enlightening one, which leads to greater calm and patience in the long run. Another useful tool in cultivating patience is mindfulness. When we're present at the moment and fully engaged with what's happening around us, we can distance ourselves from the feelings of urgency and restlessness that often accompany waiting. Mindfulness helps to develop a peaceful state of mind, which acts as a buffer against impatience and irritation. By practicing mindfulness regularly, we train ourselves to be less reactive and more in control of our emotions. Stoicism teaches us that patience also requires understanding the impermanence of our current situation. Whether it's waiting for a delayed flight or enduring a lengthy recovery from an illness, remembering that this too shall pass can help make the experience more bearable. The knowledge that nothing lasts forever softens the discomfort and allows us to endure with more peace of mind. Lastly, it's important to celebrate small victories when we manage to stay calm in situations that would typically trigger impatience. Whether it's waiting in line without frustration or remaining composed in a traffic jam, acknowledge and reward yourself for maintaining your patience. This reinforces the behavior and helps it become a more habitual response over time. Lesson #7. The power of forgiveness. Forgiveness in the Stoic sense isn't about forgetting or condoning wrongdoings. It's about making a conscious choice not to let past actions affect your current state of mind. This powerful decision allows you to reclaim your emotional energy and redirect it toward more constructive pursuits that align with your values and goals. The real liberation comes when you stop carrying the weight of grudges and instead focus on what truly matters in your life. So how do we start practicing forgiveness in our daily lives? The first step is recognizing that all humans are fallible, ourselves included. Everyone makes mistakes, sometimes out of ignorance, and other times out of malice. Reflecting on our shortcomings can help us develop more empathy towards others, making it easier to forgive when others fail us. It's about understanding that we too are imperfect and in need of grace at times. A core Stoic practice in this process is considering the bigger picture. Often the things we hold on to, our grievances and resentments, are not as significant in the grand scheme of our lives. By shifting our focus to our long-term well-being, which thrives on peace and harmony, we can diminish the immediate sting of minor wrongs. When we zoom out, it becomes clear that maintaining our inner peace is far more valuable than holding on to anger. Another powerful Stoic approach is to actively reframe the story we tell ourselves. Instead of viewing ourselves as victims, which keeps us stuck in anger and helplessness, we can choose to see ourselves as survivors or even heroes of our own stories. When we focus on how we've overcome past challenges, it becomes easier to forgive those who've wronged us. This shift in perspective not only makes forgiveness possible, but also empowers us to move forward on our journey with strength. Engaging in meditation or mindfulness exercises can further support this process. These practices help calm the mind and provide space for emotions to be processed rationally and less reactively. When you sit quietly and focus on your breath, allow thoughts of forgiveness to enter your mind. Picture the person who hurt you and imagine sending them thoughts of goodwill. This act doesn't mean accepting the wrong, but it does mean choosing to release its hold on you. Lastly, it's important to recognize that forgiveness is a process, and it's often a lengthy one. It doesn't happen overnight, and that's perfectly okay. Each step towards forgiveness, no matter how small, brings you closer to a freer, more emotionally balanced life. At its essence, self-control empowers us to pause before reacting. By embracing this pause, we gain the ability to respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively out of anger. This practice of self-control is what allows us to maintain peace and serenity, even in the face of life's challenges. Lesson #8. Strengthening self-control for lasting change. Self-control plays a vital role in helping us align our actions with our long-term goals. It's the ability to pause and consider whether our impulses are in harmony with the outcomes we want to achieve. For example, if you're committed to living a healthier lifestyle, self-control is the force that stops you from reaching for unhealthy food late at night. Similarly, in emotionally charged situations, self-control enables you to hold back from delivering a harsh word or an angry response, preserving both your relationships and your inner peace. So, how do we strengthen this essential skill? One Stoic practice is regular reflection. Taking just a few minutes each evening to review the choices you make throughout the day can reveal patterns in your behavior. Did you exercise self-control, or did you give in to impulses? Identifying moments when you lack self-control helps you understand the triggers, allowing you to manage them more effectively in the future. Another powerful technique is to set clear personal rules based on your values. Stoicism emphasizes living according to rational principles, and by establishing rules for yourself, you are proactively setting boundaries that support your well-being. For example, you might choose not to check your phone during meals or decide to limit your time on social media. These small rules create a framework that guides your behavior, making it easier to maintain self-control throughout the day. Visualization is also an incredibly helpful tool in strengthening self-control. Before entering a situation where you know your impulses might be challenged, whether it's facing a stressful work situation or being around food you're trying to avoid, take a moment to mentally rehearse how you want to act. Visualizing a successful outcome helps prepare your mind to react in a way that aligns with your goals, making it more likely that you'll maintain control in real-life situations. By integrating these practices into our daily lives, we don't just manage our impulses, we shape our actions and behaviors in a way that brings us closer to the person we want to become. Self-control, after all, is not just about saying no to temptations. It's about saying yes to a life that aligns with our highest values and long-term vision. See you soon. Before you go, just remember, we all have moments where we're tempted to act on impulse. But next time, take a moment to pause and visualize yourself handling the situation with calm and restraint. Picture the satisfaction of acting in alignment with your values, not reacting out of habit. This kind of mental rehearsal makes it easier to stay composed when it matters most. Another way to build self-control is by gradually increasing your tolerance for discomfort. The Stoics taught that facing discomfort head-on, whether it's cold showers, fasting, or resisting urges, builds our willpower. It's about showing ourselves that we can endure, and that discomfort often isn't as bad as we fear. The more we do this, the more capable we become in controlling our emotions in difficult situations. Lastly, remember that practicing self-control is a journey. You're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. What matters is that you recognize when you fall short, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Each time you make a conscious choice to act by your principles, it's a victory, no matter how small. Thank you for joining me today at Virtual Stoic. Every step you take toward mastering your emotions is a step toward a more peaceful life. Don't forget to check out one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue your journey in Stoicism. Together, we're not just learning, we're transforming.